And good morning, friends. Welcome to The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben, and thanks for joining us. Our number on The Bright Side, 844-236-6010. We love hearing from you. If you have questions, comments, success stories you'd like to share, if you just want to contribute to the conversation, we love hearing from you. 844-236-6010 is our number on The Bright Side. If you want to purchase longevity products, the ones I take and the ones I recommend, go to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You can also sign up to join the Brightside Ben team off the websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You can also call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470 for more information. Our number today, 844-236-6010. We're going to be talking to Alex Nekritin. He's got a really interesting app called UltraSelf, which helps you set good habits. He calls it a biohacking app. It helps you set good habits, identify your habits, and most importantly, make your habits stick. His website is ultraself.com. His app, which you can find on your smartphone app store, is UltraSelf, ULTISELF. We'll talk to Alex Nekritin about good habits and routines and biohacking. At the bottom of the hour, we'll get your calls in our next segment. 844-236-6010, 844-236-6010. All right, so we have been talking about pigmentation, hyperpigmentation, and if you're not dealing with hyperpigmentation or you're not a skin person, you probably don't think it's a really serious subject, but it is to millions of people who are dealing with melasma or dark spots, as they are called. They're very confusing because of the similarity between lipofuscin, as we've talked about, and melanin. Lipofuscin being the aging pigment, which is really not a pigment as much as it is debris, cellular debris that should be drained out of the body via the lymphatic system. As we get older, that doesn't happen as well. And lipofuscin tends to deposit in various areas of the body. It deposits in the brain, it deposits in the heart, it deposits in the kidneys, it deposits in the digestive tract, and most importantly, it deposits in the skin. I say most importantly because that's what we seem to care about the most, is our skin and our appearance. So most importantly, lipofuscin deposits in the skin, and it gets confused with melanin, with pigment that's associated with the sun, or really antioxidation, because melanin is much more than a sun protectant. It's a general all-purpose antioxidant. It's actually one of the coolest, if not the coolest, molecules in the body. At least from an electronics perspective, and it's got multiple functions, which we'll talk about here in the coming days. Yesterday, we talked about hydroquinone. Hydroquinone is the go-to topical active ingredient for helping folks deal with hyperpigmentation, or melasma, as it's called. It is notoriously toxic to cells. Michael Jackson is rumored, I don't know this for a fact, but he's rumored to have used very high concentrations of hydroquinone to permanently damage his melanocytes. He had a condition called vitiligo, which we're going to be talking about here in a few more Brightside episodes. Vitiligo is an autoimmune disease where the pigment-making cells die. The immune system attacks the pigment-making cells, and no more pigment, and you get these white spots. Well, Michael Jackson had this autoimmune condition, vitiligo, and his logic was, well, if I just make myself permanently white, I won't have any white spots. I'll be just all white. And so rumor has it he used very high concentration of hydroquinone. And it is a fact that high concentrations of hydroquinone will indeed kill off your melanocytes. In fact, even a low concentration of hydroquinone will kill melanocytes, melanin-making cells, if you use hydroquinone long enough, and that's why you're advised to only use hydroquinone creams for 2 months or so to prevent permanent damage and to prevent irreversible skin lightening. Interestingly, the chemical structure of hydroquinone is similar to parabens, which are preservatives. Parabens are notorious for killing cells. That's how they work as preservation molecules. And hydroquinone is very similar in structure to the parabens. That's how they achieve, the parabens achieve their preservative effects, is by killing microbial cells, fungal cells, and especially fungal cells, but also bacterial cells. Hydroquinone also has a similar structure to other skin lighteners, which are not quite as toxic as hydroquinone, including salicylic acid, which I absolutely love as an anti-aging molecule, also skin lightening molecule, also antibacterial molecule, and resorcinol, which I don't absolutely love because that one can be especially toxic. You can also find a natural form of hydroquinone in very small amounts in a phytochemical, a plant chemical that's called arbutin, A-R-B-U-T-I-N. Now, if you're not the type of person that follows the skincare world or uses skincare products, these names may sound like mumbo-jumbo to you, but if you are a skincare aficionado, you've heard these terms: hydroquinone, salicylic acid, resorcinol, and arbutin. Arbutin contains hydroquinone and sometimes used in natural skin lightening products, but it's not very effective. It has a very tiny amount of hydroquinone in it. So if you're trying to use a skin lightener, if you're alternative to hydroquinone and you're using arbutin, you're probably not going to get very many skin lightening benefits. Arbutin is found in a herb called uva ursi. Uva means berry, and ursi means bear. Uva ursi is also known as bearberry. Arbutin in uva ursi is super mild, super weak, super less toxic than hydroquinone, but it also has a lot less potency. It has much less potency than arbutin, which is the concentrated active ingredient that's found in uva ursi. But you can make your own natural skin lightener by picking your own bearberry. Bearberry, if you live near a coastal area, New Jersey, Massachusetts, New Mexico. Actually, New Mexico is not a coastal area, but New Mexico and Arizona both have uva areas where uva ursi grows. You can also find uva ursi on the internet. You can find uva ursi tea on the internet. You can make your own skin lightener by using uva ursi tea, or you can just pick the herb and tincture it in alcohol and make your own skin lightener. Uva ursi has also been used to treat urinary tract infections. Hydroquinone, as we said, is antimicrobial, it kills cells. And the arbutin is much more mild than hydroquinone, so you can use it orally. You wouldn't want to use hydroquinone straight orally. Arbutin, by the way, if you find it in skincare products, is really expensive. So most topical products that contain arbutin only contain a little pinch of arbutin. More about marketing than it is about effect. So hyperpigmentation, or dark spots, hyperpigmentation, dark spots, melasma, it doesn't sound like it would be that serious, but it really is an important skin issue for dermatologists and estheticians to deal with, and it's probably one of the major complaints that women especially have as they get older about their skin. Skincare professionals will tell you there's lots of reasons why you get hyperpigmentation. Inflammation can do it. That's called post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, also known as PIH, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, after you get an acne blemish or a wound, or anything that induces an inflammatory response. In some susceptible patients, a pigmentation or hyperpigmentation response will occur. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back with your phone calls and more good health information right after this. Back on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll get to your calls momentarily. We'll continue talking about melasma and hyperpigmentation tomorrow. Lots of stuff to talk about. There's a class of topical ingredients that are quite effective, or somewhat effective, we'll say, against hyperpigmentation. But keep in mind, and it's really important to keep in mind, actually it's always important to keep this in mind when it comes to skincare. Your skin is only going to be as healthy as your inside. The outside of your body is only going to be as healthy as your insides. And like all skin health challenges, melasma and hyperpigmentation are largely about biochemistry on the inside, specifically hormones, which we'll be talking about in the coming days on The Bright Side. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number. I want to read just a couple of, I've been reading a lot of stuff about alternatives for viral infections, alternative ways to protect yourself from viral infections. And I'm starting to gather up a whole bunch of strategies here, or a whole bunch of reasons why we're more susceptible to viral infections. H. pylori, I've been reading about as a cause for severe viral infections. You notice I'm saying viral infections here. Don't want to trigger our friends at YouTube, the algorithms at YouTube, so we'll call them viral infections. Selenium, dietary selenium, has been identified as a link to better outcomes using dietary selenium, that is. And just today I read an article in the British Journal of Sports Medicine about exercise protecting against viral infections. And this was a study that involved 50,000 participants. It showed that it's possible anyway that regular exercise protects against severe viral infections. So why are we using medical intervention to handle what is really a lifestyle challenge? That is the ultimate question. That is the ultimate bright side question. Why are we using medical interventions to deal with what are ultimately lifestyle issues? Guess. Cha-ching, control, nefariousness. Those are the reasons. But it's all up to us, people. It's up to us. It's up to us, you guys listening to this radio program, and it's up to your neighbors to take the health ball back into your own court. All right. 844-236-6010 is our number. Let's go to Michigan and say good morning to Rick. What's up, Rick? How you doing?
Well, good morning, Ben. Long-time listener, occasional caller.
Okay. Well, nice to chat with you.
Yeah, I've been following your, over the last week or so, you've been covering skin pigmentation issues.
Yes.
And, melasma and the whole, you mentioned it, what is it, hydroquinone?
Hydroquinone.
Yeah.
Yes.
But now that's talking about lightning. I've got a question about the opposite issue. When you've got, if you've noticed, this is really common on golfers who get in the sun a lot. You can see some of the older golfers, a lot of white spots on their forearm.
Yeah. Yes.
I used to think that was majorly ugly. Oh, my God. Well, I've turned the corner on 60, and now
you have it
just
too.
Getting back from Florida, tons of sun golfing, I got a little of that going. So how do you deal with that? Knowing you, topical is not the solution, 90%.
You don't deal with it. When that happens, more than likely or not, the melanocytes, the cells that make the melanin, have gone belly up, so to speak.
Okay.
So they're not coming back. And that is one of the things that's one of the things that happens as we age. Now, if you have a yeast infection, that can topical yeast infection, something called tinea versicolor, I don't know if you've ever heard of that term, that can cause little white patches. Also, vitiligo, which I'm going to be talking about here in a few days, that's an autoimmune issue, and that can cause those white patches. Or it can be just wear and tear, and the melanocytes can just have gone, like I say, belly up, and no more melanocytes.
I think it's option number 3 would be my guess, even though I'll follow closely what you have to say. That's disappointing because I thought there's something I could do to bolster that. Because that's something you notice with older people sometimes.
Yes,
they
have a name for that condition. You ready for this? It's called IGH, idiopathic guttate hypomelanosis. So if you go to the doctor, isn't that good? If you go to the doctor, he'll say, "Oh, I think you have idiopathic guttate hypomelanosis." You know what that means? White spots, exactly. That's exactly what it means. Guttate means spot or drops. So hypomelanosis means no melanin, and idiopathic means we have no idea what the heck's causing it. So
I love it.
Isn't that good?
Probably.
Isn't that good? IGH.
That is awesome, and it breaks down perfectly. But given your question just before the call in there, how come they do this? They'd still probably offer you an allopathic solution.
Exactly. You'll get a steroid cream. Exactly.
Right.
Bingo.
Well, thanks,
all right.
Ben. Keep up the great work.
Take care, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day. Nice to talk to you, Rick. All right. Idiopathic guttate hypomelanosis, IGH. That's what it's called. And that's the fallacy of diagnosis, the craziness of diagnosis. All right, let's go to Chris in Texas. What's up, Chris?
Hi. Well, the good news for Texas, there is some good news. There's this Republican representative. Her last name is Click. She's proposing a bill that will make THC up to 5% okay for people with medical issues, medical patients. But have you heard about Dr. Pierre Corey? And he's got this.
How do you spell his last name?
Kory, Pierre Corey. And he's proposing that they use ivermectin, which is a treatment for parasites against COVID. So my question is, what is COVID really? Is it a virus or is it a parasite? I mean, do people even know what COVID really is?
Well, it's a virus. I mean, that's what people are saying. It's a virus. Ivermectin is an anti-malarial, anti-parasitic, and it's used for animals, for intestinal parasites, etc. It's basically for heart. When I was in pharmacy school, we learned about it as a heartworm medicine for dogs. And that was what has been used for. It's not incredibly toxic. I mean, all drugs have a certain amount of toxicity. It's not the most toxic drug you can ever take. It does happen to have, at least in research, it's been shown to be an inhibitor of the virus, we'll call it, because I don't want to freak out the algorithms here. And there are a lot of, it's not just Dr. Corey. I hadn't heard of him before you mentioned him, but there's a lot of doctors who are out there who are suggesting that we use ivermectin as an antiviral, even though it is specifically antiparasitic, but it does have antiviral activity against quite a broad range of viruses, at least in vitro, that is in a laboratory. I don't know if they've ever done any in vivo studies on it, but it does have some antiviral properties. But here's the thing, Chris. There's so many other.
About it, wait. What's interesting about it? It seems to be less toxic than hydroxychloroquine, right? Because hydroxychloroquine, it's an anti-malarial drug, but hydroxychloroquine seems to have a lot of side effects, right?
Yeah, and ivermectin doesn't really have a lot of side effects. But here's the thing, though, and actually hydroxychloroquine doesn't have a lot of side effects either. But either way, the idea of being pharmacologically modified, of getting medical intervention for what is at the end of the day a lifestyle issue. People who are healthy and strong and vital, and I don't want to hear about, sometimes people say, well, I know this athlete who got it and I know this kid who got it, et cetera. For the most part, if you have a robust immune system, and if you're taking care of yourself, and if you're supplementing, you're not going to get sick. And that's really what we want to be focusing on. The problem is this medicalization, this idea that we need the medical model to save our lives from what is at the end of the day lifestyle issues. That's the problem. It's philosophical, and that's where I run into issues. Yeah, ivermectin is not the end of the world. There's much worse drugs than ivermectin if you want to take that. Chris, call back tomorrow. I love talking to you, but we got to go. All right, we've got Alex Neritkin, his app. Okay, we are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, and 24/7 on the archive page at brightsideben.com. You can purchase longevity products off brightsideben.com. We also have a search engine. If you miss a program, you want to review a program, you want to review a specific subject, go to brightsideben.com and check out our search engine with all 10 plus years, actually 11 years of archived information at brightsideben.com. You can also go to pharmacistben.com. That's my blog. And also criticalhealthnews.com. We've got news stories, blog posts, as well as videos on brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com, as well as the longevity products. And a Join the Team link that you can click on if you want to start a longevity business. brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. And don't forget to take a look at our Truth Skin Health products at truthtreatments.com. Never any preservatives, fragrances, fillers, waxes, emulsifiers, water, silicone, nothing your skin doesn't need or doesn't want in any of our Truth Skin Health products. You can check them out at truthtreatments.com, or take a look at our now going on 1,800 4- and 5-star reviews at truthreviewed.com. Truth Reviewed with a D, truthreviewed.com for our reviews, and Truth Treatments with an S, truthtreatments.com to purchase Truth Skin Health products. All right, I am looking forward to speaking to our guest today, Alex Necritin. I think he says his name. He has a really cool app and website called UltaSelf. Helps you biohack into your habits. And as he says, become limitless. UltaSelf.com is the website, and the app is called UltaSelf. UltaSelf. Please welcome Alex Necritin to the bright side. Alex, did I say that right?
That's close enough.
Okay. Necritin. Okay. All right, Alex Necritin. Hey, good to talk to you, Alex. So
great to talk to you as well.
So I signed up for the app today, UltaSelf. I'm very excited. What can I expect from being on UltaSelf?
What can you expect? Big thing that I see kind of with the self-development industry, the biohacking industry, it's a lot of information. It's basically one of two things. It's information and it's product. And products like supplements, stuff like that. And that is all good, but there's rarely a tool that basically bridges the gap between information or product and action. And that's what we do. Whatever you learn, like typical story of getting a product to build your, to a self-development product, is you buy it, you read it, you're all excited about it, think of a book, and then you put it on your bookshelf, you forget about it and collect dust. Maybe you look at it a few years later. With us, we have the information in the app, but we also have things like reminders, and we have a system to actually make you take action on it. And that's a big missing link. So this is something that you're going to learn the great stuff, but you're actually going to do it. So it's going to be almost like a coach and your boss, if that makes sense.
So if somebody has a habit that they want to develop, say they want to start, let's just take working out every morning, right? Sure. Walk us through what UltraSelf would do. If people decide they want to lose 20 pounds, somebody decides they want to lose 20 pounds and they want to start a workout program every morning. Walk us through what exactly UltraSelf would do, or how how this person would use UltraSelf.
Perfect. Well, yeah, I was talking to somebody in the fitness industry, and they said that people that want to lose weight, they want to do everything other than eat less and work out more, right? So everybody knows what to do. The problem is that people just tend to kind of not do it, and this is how with UltraSelf we kind of bridge that gap. So let's say you know what you need to do to let's say lose weight, right? You know what you need to do. You need to do morning cardio, and you need to eat less carbs or eat less under a certain amount of calories, right? What UltraSelf has is it has an intelligent habit tracker. So we have a database of 250 plus habits and biohacks, but it could be stuff as simple as exercise, weight training, right? So let's say you add these three habits. You add weight training, you add cardio, and you add eat under 2,000 calories, right? You put that onto the tracker, and then what UltraSelf does is when you add the habit to the tracker, it's actually going to pop up and say, do you want to set a reminder for it? But we got two types of reminders. We have a push notification reminder, which I'm sure you guys have seen on your phone, right? Or we have either a text message reminder, right? So
what's the difference between, I'm sorry to interrupt, what exactly is the difference between text and push? So
a push it comes from an app. It's a push notification that comes straight from the app, and a text message is a text message. Which I was really big with my team. I was really pushed to add text message reminders because we know most people nowadays not too many people check their emails anymore. I sometimes ignore push notifications, but text. I'm always checking my texts. My parents could be texting me, my wife could be texting me, stuff like that. So text is really a really good one to look at. So they could set a push or a text reminder. And let's say they want to do their cardio in the morning, 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, right? They would actually get that reminder, hey, it's a nudge, right? And then when you're trying to build a habit, there's three keys to building a habit. There's a cue, an action, and a reward. The cue could be that reminder. The action is doing the actual habit, right? And that's what makes habits stick. You may be familiar with books like Atomic Habits.
Atomic Habits, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the three components. So we try to put those three components right in the app. So the cue is the reminder, right? Because when you try to build a habit, it's hard. You're always trying to think of what's the cue going to be for it, what's the reward, and the app actually takes care of those. The cue is the reminder, the habit is your habit, and then the reward is actually checking it off in your tracker right in the app. So you check that habit off. It's a very, very intuitive, easy tracker, and that's how you go about your day. And then when it's time to, at the end of the day, it's asked you to check in and actually rate how your day was, and the AI, there's a little bit of an AI logic, and it's able to determine how effective those habits were for you. So it's going to make those habits stick, and there's also a gamification component. For example, you have a minimal frequency, like with weight. You don't want to be doing weights every single day of the week, right? Like you want to do weights maybe 3 or 4 times a week, right? So you could set a frequency for each habit, weekly frequency. Let's say it's 4 times, and then you get points when you complete it. There's the thing turns green on the tracker. Kind of gives you that boost. That gamification is very
love it.
It's very effective. Like as far as gamification, I always use the analogy of like being at playing blackjack, right? Like if you ask somebody to sit down and count numbers in a smoke-filled room surrounded by a bunch of strangers, doesn't sound appealing. But then you put a blackjack table somewhere, and those tables are always packed, right?
Right.
And that's the gamification aspect of it, because there's a game. There's a reward.
I love it. Life is becoming gamified. There's a really cool book called Reality is Broken by a lady named Jane McGonigal, and she talks about how. Have you heard of this? Reality is Broken. Yeah. She talks about gamifying, how life in the future will be gamified. I love that concept. So you have a lot of routines. I noticed on the website you have it's not just working out. It's things like hydration, reading, exercise. What else? What are the most popular things that people are looking for?
and that's what it is with us, is we want to take a holistic approach. It's not just fitness, and it's not, my main mission is to, like, big mission, even going past the app, is to redefine our wellness, our healthcare, right? Because typically right now in America, it's like the way the medicine works is they don't do anything until there's something really wrong. And when there's something really wrong, medicine is great, right?
So, that's a big problem with medicine. Preventive. You're talking about prevention.
Yeah, prevention. You come in. This is our big mission. If somebody comes in and basically they say their goals, whether it's to improve focus, productivity, energy, fitness, sleep, digestion, and the app essentially, the business is going to create a customized bespoke plan for them.
Hold on to that thought. We got to take a commercial break. Alex Nikritin is with us. We'll be back after this. Okay, we are back on the bright side. We're talking to Alex Nikritin. His website is ultaself.com. His app is Ultaself. Alex, before we went to break, we were talking about this idea of prevention versus medicalization. What do you got what strategies do you have for people who want to prevent viral infections, we'll say?
Put me on the spot, right?
Yeah.
This is the cool thing about the app, and I was actually just thinking during the break about mentioning this. So we talked about weight loss and fitness, and we mentioned some basic things that probably, most people know: exercise, obviously eating less and cardio and weights. But I'm just kind of maybe walk you through how the app works, because the app is actually going to make those suggestions for the people. So when you go into the app, we have this component of the app called the habit directory, right? And this is what basically differentiates us from most of the other apps out there, because I wanted to really, really heavily focus on content, so people actually find out what to do, and then we actually keep them accountable and make them do it. So when they go into the app, there's a component called the habit directory, and there's a very easy-to-use filter, and basically people put in the areas that they want to improve. So when you open up that filter, we actually have a component there, a tag called immunity, right? So they can click on that tag called immunity, and then the app is basically makes a suggestion of whatever habits apply to that filter. But there's over 250 habits and biohacks in the habit directory. So if you open up the app and click on that, it may suggest things like elderberry syrup, right? Elderberry syrup is something that, can mitigate viral infections. That's a common thing. But there's a bunch of other ones that would also, maybe echinacea, zinc, whatever it is. And once you go into it, you see all those suggestions. But unlike other apps, we don't just actually give you the name. Inside each of the habits, you can open it up. Most of them have a little short video about it, and then there's a text, and it talks about the benefits. And I try to be unbiased. We're not pushing anything, so we're just giving people options, because everybody's different. What works for one person may not necessarily work for somebody else. That's our big kind of selling point. We try to help people create their own plan that is the best fit for them. So meaning, like, they could open up that habit directory, see elderberry syrup, read why it works. I think it has to do with flavonoids. I'm going to respond to you putting me on the spot there, but it's going to open up. It's going to basically open that up. You could read about why it works, how to do it, what dosage to take, some tips, possible side effects, and even sometimes suggested products. So you get that for over 250 biohacks. So when somebody's basically in habits, right? So when somebody's basically using the app, they could put a combination. Hey, I want to improve my digestion, my focus, and my energy. And it spits out all the possible habits from our database that they could add. And then you add it to the tracker. Like, for example, weight loss, capsaicin. Capsaicin is something that, that most people don't know about. It's an ingredient found in
hot peppers.
But it can relate to, it can actually help, there'll be some studies that it could actually help with weight loss, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So you could actually add something like that you wouldn't know about it. And then as you're using it on the tracker, you're rating your progress, and our AI is going to basically identify, give you insight of whether that's effective for you or not. That's the habit effectiveness rating. So it's a really, really powerful tool that actually gives you what you need to do, gives you suggestion, and then helps you stick with them.
It's super cool. And you know what else? Your website is really awesome, I got to tell you. And so you don't have to, people don't have to, you don't have to have the app to benefit from the website. Your blog has got some great articles on it.
Absolutely. Again, I have a mission to really change the wellness industry, change the self-development industry. I feel like it's not action-oriented, it's not bespoke, it's just a lot of people preaching the same thing all over and over again, and there's no way to stick with it. So we actually put all the habits on the website. The habit directory is on the website, right? So you can search for habits. Of course, our app is going to help you stick with them, but you can actually search for those habits on the website based on the areas you're trying to improve. And, I find myself using the tool that I created a lot of the time, which is a good thing. I'm getting high on my own supply, as they say. Because,
I love it.
Sometimes, something like you need digestion or something like that comes up, and you could look, here's a few things that I could do, that could help with this.
Do you update it? I mean, do you add stuff all the time?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have a content team. We're adding at least 10 habits every single month, but it's usually more. And we're putting them on our Instagram, at UltiSelf is our Instagram, so we're putting them on Instagram as well. And, we're updating them all the time. We're refining the content all the time. For example, we had metformin. We have metformin there, and I was actually just before early in the morning on a call with our content team because I saw some kind of interesting things about metformin that I wanted to adjust. So, yeah, we're trying to stay on top of content. I take content really seriously. I think it's a big, big differentiation point for our app.
I can see. I mean, your blog is awesome. The website is awesome in general.
Awesome. Thank you.
Ultiself.com for listeners. Ultiself, ULTISELF. What's this partnership program you got?
Well, and then maybe I could talk real quick about the routine program because that goes hand in hand with our partnership program. So we are all different, but if I'm going to decide, obviously, as a 5'7", 40-year-old, probably not the right time. But if I ever decide to, become a professional basketball player, probably would be a good idea to see what guys like LeBron James and all these pros do to become a pro, right? So this is why we created routines. When it comes to routines, we actually started to partner with guys like yourself. Maybe eventually we'll put a skincare routine,
yeah,
exactly, onto the app. So we put in experts and influencers in different programs which have specific routines to improve different areas, whether it be focus, whether it be skincare. Skin is your. Tell me if I got this wrong. It's the biggest organ in your body, right?
Yes,
so
that's right.
Very, very, very,
so they
very
say.
Important. Yeah, that's very, very important. So things like that, like skincare routine, immunity routine, focus routine, and we partner with different influencers to get those routines. And if you want to improve your skincare, pretty good idea to start off by seeing, what Ben has to say. And then
thank you for the plug. I appreciate that.
Of course. And then you basically hone in on what components of those work for you. So you can basically add an entire routine to improve a certain area from an expert. And we're adding, right now we have about 20 expert-made routines, but we're already in talks with a bunch of, we're talking, for example, right now with David Meltzer to get his routine on there. These are influential, highly, highly successful people. We're in talks with you, Ben, to get your routine on there right now, and a bunch of other people, so that people can use that as starting points. They can add those things to follow what these influencers do. That's probably the best way to discuss the partnership program.
Super cool stuff, Alex. How does talk about logistics? How do people sign up? What do you got to do? Just download the app, or what do you have to do exactly?
So there's two ways. We have an app. We have an app product, and it's an iOS app at this point. It's iOS only. So if you have an iPhone, simply go to the App Store, put in UltiSelf, ULTISELF, and I gotta give myself a little bit of a pat on the back. I was able to get to -- rank for biohacking in basically 6 months. So if you type in biohacking, we're going to come up #1. But
that's awesome.
You go into to the App Store, put ULTISELF, like your ultimate self, and the app will pop up. Simply download it. We have a freemium model. I really stand behind the product, so I want people to check it out. If they don't have to sign up right away, they can check it out. But of course, if you do, there's a lot of great features on the premium, and it's very, very affordable. I mean, it's less than a cup of coffee a day. It's like $30 a year is how much the premium version costs. I mean, your health is totally more than.
Are you serious? The whole thing for $30 a year?
$30 a year. That's it. Maybe even we have some specials that it's sometimes even less. So and the value is tremendous. You know what I mean?
Even the blog, even just the website, the value in the web. Of course, that's free. The value of the website is tremendous. There's so many good articles on this. Ultiself.com on the blog. Do you write this stuff?
Some of them I wrote myself, and some of them, again, we have a team of scientists. I was fortunate enough to get a really good advisory board. So we have a psychology PhD on there. We have, We have behavioral neuroscientists who are actually like professional habit experts. So we got a really, really good advisory board. Like I said, we take the content really, really serious. And then the other thing, the main focus, a lot of people preach habits, but habits is not always enough. What really is going to get you there is having that right routine, having that perfect routine for you. So that's really your objective with this, is create the optimal routine to build your best self, to improve in the areas that you want. So we put together a web product. This is a really great combo product, and it basically includes the app. It includes lifetime premium access to the app for only $37. I mean, like I said, we don't want to have money get in the way of people and their wellness, So we made this very, very affordable. So on that web product, they get the lifetime access to the app, plus they get instructional videos and a workbook to create their optimal routine so that they can basically build their best self. We kind of guide them step by step. It's not like a course. It's a full-on actionable system to build that.
Is this the self-upgrade system you're talking about?
Yes, sir. That's it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, we're out of time, Alex. Thanks so much for coming on the bright side. Ultiself.com. Ultiself.com is the website. And download the app. It's awesome. Ultiself. ULTISELF. Thanks, Alex, for being on the bright side. And that's all the time we have for today. I am Pharmacist Ben. Have a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. We'll talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.